Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheikh. There will be no compromise on those who sabotage the country by causing disunity, warns Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. In his National Day address, he stressed that action will be taken against those who incite racial hatred and disharmony among Malaysians.
Andai kata ada mana-mana kelompok kecil yang bawa hasutan kaum ke arah keganasan dan kebencian dan permusuhan satu sama lain, saya tidak peduli apakah disenangi oleh media antarabangsa atau negara luar. Tugas kita ya selamatkan negara Malaysia tercinta ini. Dan kita gunakan segala kuasa dan kekuatan yang ada. Kalau tidak cukup, kita pindah, tambah peruntukan undang-undang, ambil tindakan supaya negara ini selamat dan dia dapat diangkat sebagai negara hebat di rantau dan di dunia ini.
Meanwhile, the search and rescue operation for a missing Indian national, Vijaya Lakshmi, has been halted at the sinkhole site on Jalan Masjid India, but it will continue at the Pantai Dalam IWK sewage plant. According to Director General Dato' Nur Hisham Muhammad, this decision was made after findings revealed that it was too risky to continue search and rescue activities using scuba diving methods. He said besides posing a high risk to scuba divers, there are also obstructions difficult for divers to navigate. 2 scuba divers conducted search at 4 a.m. today but was unsuccessful. Nur Hisham said 2 underwater cameras were also deployed in the search area, and so far the images captured include fragments of cloth that could not be identified. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim assured tourists that they should not worry about visiting Kuala Lumpur. He said the geotechnical study had established the cause of the incident and found that it was safe. Malaysia, along with 70 other countries, will soon need authorisation to enter Japan. The Japanese government plans to introduce a new travel authorisation system by 2030, which will require visitors to declare personal information online before entering the country.
The 71 countries affected, including Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, South Korea, the US, and Australia, are currently exempted from visa requirements. The new system is expected to operate similarly to the US electronic system for travel authorization, originally introduced as an anti-terrorism measure. According to the Japanese government, the initiative aims to reduce the number of illegal immigrants who overstay their permitted travel period. It would require visa-exempt foreign nationals to declare their purpose of entry and place of stay online for screening by the country's Immigration Services Agency. If a traveler's application is flagged, the travel authorization would not be granted and they would be advised to obtain a formal visa through their local embassy.
Capital A Berhad CEO Tan Sri Tony Fernandez expressed support for the government's new regulation requiring airlines to fully refund passengers for flights delayed by 5 hours or more. However, he also noted that many delays are due to factors beyond the airline's control, shifting some of the responsibility away from the carriers. He urged the government to include exclusion clauses citing possible delays caused by suppliers, traffic control and IT outages, among other factors. Tony also emphasized that while the airline has policies in place to provide refunds or alternative arrangements for passengers affected by significant delays, it is tough to run an airline due to its heavy reliance on external suppliers. He cited recent global IT outages involving CrowdStrike, which caused airlines to lose millions in revenue and created chaos for travelers. The new regulation, effective September this year, mandates that all airlines provide passengers a full refund for delays of 5 hours or more. Non-compliance could result in penalties of up to 200,000 ringgit, with repeated violations incurring fines up to 10 times that amount. While Transport Minister Anthony Loh stressed the importance of protecting passengers' rights, Tony argued that the rules should also apply to other stakeholders, such as airport operators, and should include exclusion clauses for delays caused by external factors. We will go for a quick break. Don't go anywhere.
Bukan sahaja kami jual bunga, kami juga menjual benda yang ada kena-mengena dengan bunga.
Ada budak baru cuba kacau bisnes kita. Satu dekad penuh gemilang, sepak takraw kini kembali penuh dengan aksi mendebarkan. Dapatkan tiket anda sekarang. Pelanggan Astro juga boleh memenangi tiket di aplikasi My Astro. Jangan lepas peluang keemasan ini.
Welcome back. Over to updates in Japan. Typhoon Shanshan weakened to a tropical storm today but was still dumping heavy rains as it slowly churned through Japan, triggering transport havoc and landslide warnings. Up to 6 people have been killed and some 99 injured in storm-related incidents in recent days. The storm made landfall in the southwestern region of Kyushu on Thursday, bringing gusts of up to 180 kilometers per hour. Around 250,000 households in 7 prefectures were without power in Kyushu on Thursday, but many had seen services restored. The warm and moist air flowing around the typhoon brought record-breaking levels of rain in some areas far from the main storm. Notices advising residents to evacuate have been issued to more than 3.3 million people nationwide. But as of Thursday, only some 30,000 had been evacuated, mainly in Kyushu. The storm is expected to approach the central and eastern regions, which includes Tokyo, at the weekend. In other news, Israel's military has agreed to 3-day pauses in fighting at 3 separate zones in Gaza to allow for the first round of vaccination of 640,000 children against polio. The World Health Organization's senior official, Rick Pieperkorn, says the vaccination campaign is due to start on Sunday, with the pauses scheduled to take place between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m.
The WHO welcomed the decision for a temporary pause, adding that humanitarian pauses are needed for a proper vaccination campaign to be conducted. The campaign would start in central Gaza with 3 consecutive daily pauses in fighting, then move to southern Gaza, where there would be another 3-day pause, followed by northern Gaza. Rick added that there was an agreement to extend the pause in each zone to a 4th day if needed. A second round of vaccination would be required 4 weeks after the first round. At least 90% of coverage is needed during each round of the campaign in order to stop the outbreak and prevent international spread of polio. The WHO confirmed on August 23rd that 1 baby has been paralyzed by the type 2 polio virus, the first such case in Gaza in 25 years.
Meanwhile, Thailand's Anti-Corruption Commission has launched an investigation into 44 members of the disbanded Move Forward Party for seeking to amend the Lèse Majesté law. The move comes less than a month after a court ordered the dissolution of the Move Forward Party for its similar campaign pledge. The Commission has begun calling up some of the 44 individuals, 25 of whom are parliamentarians, with an investigative panel already established. The Commission said the step is to collect evidence, but no one has been charged yet. The Lèse Majesté law shields the Crown from criticism and carries a jail sentence of up to 15 years if violated. Move Forward were the surprise winners of last year's elections, but was blocked from forming a government by lawmakers allied with the royalist military. The group has since reorganized as the People's Party and remains the largest party in parliament. Social media network X, formerly known as Twitter, has said it expects to be blocked in Brazil after failing to meet a deadline to name a new legal representative for the company. Elon Musk, the platform's owner, argues that the block is a result of X's resistance to censorship amid ongoing legal battles over local compliance.
X expects Supreme Court Judge Alexandre de Moraes to order the shutdown soon, following the expiry of the court-imposed deadline on Thursday evening to name a legal representative in Brazil. The dispute started in April when Moraes ordered the suspension of several X accounts accused of spreading disinformation. many of which were linked to supporters of former President Jair Bolsonaro. Earlier on Thursday, the Supreme Court also froze the local bank accounts of Musk's Starlink satellite internet company. In response, Musk called de Moraes an evil dictator on X and condemned the ruling as illegal, claiming it unfairly punishes shareholders and ordinary Brazilians. Despite the situation, Musk said that Starlink will continue supporting the Brazilian military. Brazil is a major market for social media platforms. About 40 million Brazilians, or about 18% of the population, access X.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has defended her evolving stance on various policy issues over the years in her first interview since entering the presidential race. Speaking to CNN, she says her top priority upon taking office would be to support and strengthen the middle class.
The Democratic nominee was questioned about why her policies on immigration and climate have changed since her first presidential run in 2019, to which she said her values had not changed. Earlier this year, Harris supported a bipartisan border security deal that would have included hundreds of millions of dollars for border wall construction. She also clarified that she would not ban fracking, a technique for extracting gas and oil from shale rock, despite advocating for it in 2019, adding that there were other ways to promote a thriving clean energy economy. Harris also defended the White House's economic track record amid inflation and high cost of living prices, pointing to the Biden administration's work on the Inflation Reduction Act. When asked about the war in Gaza, she reiterated the White House's call for a ceasefire, emphasizing that both Israel and Hamas must agree on a deal and stressed the importance of a two-state solution.
Youth are emerging as powerful catalysts for humanitarian change in Gaza. Tonight on It's About Youth, we speak to our guests about the crucial role Malaysian youth play in tackling misinformation and mobilizing support from outside Gaza.
First of all, in the context of the Palestinian genocide, the word misinformation is only so synonymous, not with the Palestinian side, but with the Israeli and the Zionist side. And the form of misinformation that they're getting is not because they're undereducated, but because they are overeducated, but on the wrong narrative, on the wrong side of history. They are, even if you take a look at the Zionist regime, if you look at the Israeli apartheid regime, even on the surface, you would see clearly that it's so inhumane, that it's so it's dehumanizing. In the eyes of Zionists, Palestinians are in a lower class than even like donkeys and dogs. They're in a lower class than animals. So, but to them, this is all they've ever been taught. This is all they've ever known since birth. They've been indoctrinated with this narrative. And so that's the biggest form of misinformation in this context.
And in 2009, we were mostly relying on print media. So if we had fundraisers or if we had like charity bazaars, that was a thing back then. Instead of social media gathering of funds, we had charity bazaars. So the way we would do that was to get it out in print media.
Okay.
And back then we only had, I think it was Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the first social media outlets that we used. But fast forward to today, all we need is an Instagram story of a couple of seconds and alhamdulillah, funds come pouring in. So just in terms of fundraising, social media has helped a huge amount. Another way it's helped is that we are able to almost immediately update our donors as to what their money is being used for.
Catch the full conversation on It's About You tonight at 10:30 p.m. only on Astro AWANI.
What do you think?
That wraps up AWANI tonight. I'm Farhana Sheikh. Thank you for watching.